Proverbs 22:16 says, "He that oppresseth the poor to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want." One of the great travesties of human history is that, as we discussed previously, the rich get rich by oppressing the poor. When you hear the names Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, Carnegie, Ford, and others, you're hearing the names of some of the wealthiest men in human history. But they were all made wealthy on the backs of the poor to one extent or other during the Industrial Revolution. When you hear names like Gates and Jobs and Musk and Buffett and Zuckerberg and Soros, and maybe even familiar with names like Ellison and Bezos, Brin and Huang, among many other billionaires that are alive or have lived in our own day, they also got rich on the backs of the poor, slave labor in places like China and Bangladesh and other places. And I don't know that a single one of those men, dead or alive, made a profession of faith in Jesus Christ. Can you imagine being among the most wealthy in the world, but only living a few decades with that wealth and then spending eternity in hell? Just doesn't seem worth it to me. But when you read our proverb, you may not really understand why it adds to oppressing the poor the words, "and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want." But it's really not too difficult to figure this one out. Have you also heard you have to spend money to make money? That's part of our answer. You see, in order to get rich, all of these men had to have help. But the people with the ability to help them, they don't give out a lot of free help. So you give to get, and you give to the rich to get riches. I make no bones about my appreciation for Donald Trump as President of the United States, but he actually exemplifies our proverb here. When asked about being born into money during a 2015 NBC News town hall event, Trump said, quote, "It has not been easy for me. And you know, I started off in Brooklyn. My father gave me a small loan of $1 million. I came into Manhattan and I had to pay him back. And I had to pay him back with interest." End quote. I don't know anyone personally who would ever call a $1 million loan a small loan. And I don't know anyone who would think it surprising that you have to pay it back with interest. But that's the world that Donald Trump grew up in, and he still lives in that world. He's exposed to little people, and he's surrounded himself by a lot of good, decent, even Christian people. But Donald Trump still thinks he's going to end up in heaven by making sure he is, going to have his good works outweigh his bad. Peace treaties and that sort of thing. Without coming right out and saying it, he seems to think that he can buy off God the way he's built his empire. As our text says, "And he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want." And one reason is that they think that they can get into heaven the same way they built their financial or political empires. Give to the rich and get rich translates in their mind to die with lots of good things and having done good deeds that, at least by their figuring and doing math and their version of the system, their good deeds will outweigh their bad deeds, and that's how they'll get in. It's the same modus operandi. You give to get. So they're going to give God good works, and they're going to stand before him on Judgment Day and point out all that they gave and all that they did. Voila! They think they're going to get into heaven. I've actually talked to several people personally in my 35 years ministry who think that they'll bargain with God. And no matter what scripture I share with them, they say, "No, I think I'll be okay. I just believe God's a reasonable God, and that I'll be able to, talk to him, and, he'll be reasonable." It's just crazy. Proverbs 16:25 says, "There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want in this life and Judgment Day."